Good evening, everybody, and welcome. My name is Dan Melnick. I am the project engineer with DOT for this project, and this is the virtual public meeting for Project 118-188 Rocky Hill and Glastonbury Ferry ADA and Lighting Improvement Project. We'll start off with a little bit of housekeeping here, just some how-tos to set up captions and subtitles in Zoom. At the bottom of your screen, you're going to want to click the Show Captions CC button, as shown here. And then you can click the Speaking Language option. And then step 3 is to select the language you would like to list, like on the list shown. And closed caption option includes non-English translation options. Those are available in the YouTube event afterwards. Also, how to use the Q&A function in Zoom. So step 1, you're going to want to select the Q&A tool at the bottom of the Zoom webinar window, shown here on the right. Step 2, the Q&A window should pop up as shown here. And step 3, you can type your questions in the text box and click enter. If you're an audio-only participant, dial *9 to raise and lower your hand. Okay, Title 6, your civil rights. So no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. And there's a voluntary post-meeting survey you can partake in. The QR code here should work, as well as the link on the page. And for more information on civil rights, you can visit the link here to the DOT's Title VI page. And a recording of the presentation will be posted to DOT's YouTube channel after the event. And again, closed captioning, including non-English translation options, are available on Zoom and YouTube. I'll give you a second to look at those links. Okay. And again, this is the DOT Title VI notice to the public. If you would like to file a complaint, the email addresses and the websites and physical addresses are noted here. And again, I'll pause here for a second for anybody to jot down any of this information if they would like it. Alrighty. And moving into the project slides here. So tonight is Tuesday, January 28th, 7 p.m. for the virtual meeting. Please join us afterwards for a Q&A session following this formal presentation, and feel free to send us questions or comments along the way. There's a project email contact, a project phone number, and the project's webpage shown on the screen here as well. Okay, so with the meeting overview and the agenda for the flow of today's meeting, we're going to have a very brief introduction of the project team, followed by a formal presentation of the existing conditions, the purpose and need of the project, proposed conditions for the site, and a construction phase. And then following that, we'll do a live Q&A session. As I mentioned, the project team here tonight, we have Adam Fox, the principal engineer on the project, Charlie Wiegert, the project manager, and myself, Dan Melnick, the project engineer. I will note Michael Baker is the consultant retained by DOT for the design of the project. And the purpose and need for the project. So the purpose and need is to improve ADA accessibility to the site, as well as to improve safety for pedestrians with guardrails along the proposed sidewalks, lighting and gates to the boat ramps when they're not in operation. Additionally, this will bring the site more in line with the characteristics and feel of the Chester-Hadlime Ferry, if you're familiar with that site. Some of the more ornate stone pillars, lighting, and decorative fencing. And the existing conditions will start on the Glastonbury side. For those of you not familiar with this area, at the left side of the page, we have the Connecticut River, which typically flows from the top of the page to the bottom. In the right side, we have Ferry Lane, which provides access to the boat ramp and the ferry. In the middle of the page, we have the boat ramp itself where the ferry would dock. And at the bottom of the page, we have the town parking lot. And then moving on to the proposed conditions, kind of the reason we're all here. What is this project? So this again is the Glastonbury side, and to orient everybody again, the left side of the page will be the Connecticut River. The right side is Ferry Lane. The bottom of the page is the town parking lot, and the center left is the boat ramp itself. So what we're highlighting here in green are the proposed gates to the site. Those would open and close during normal operation. And the yellow icons you see here are the columns or the posts with the lighting that we were proposing. And that's going to look something like this, which is what we see at the Chester Hadlime Ferry. Now there's a third light closer to the water, and this is just an operations light that's going to be replaced, upgraded, if you will. A couple other things that'll be done here. There's going to be a little bit of landscape work, just any kind of construction activities that we're doing, digging, disturbance to the site will be reseeded and grass just to bring it back to better than existing conditions when we're done. The parking lot itself, the east side, 8 of the 15 parking spots will be used for construction, for laydown of construction material and what have you.
All right, I'll talk a little bit about the Rocky Hill side. This is another top-down view from the Rocky Hill side of the river. You can see the barge that you actually ride across the river, located right in the middle of the screen to the right. At the top of the picture is the parking area for the town of Rocky Hills Ferry Park. This is where, and then this Rocky Hill side is where the majority of this work will take place. Let's take a look at that proposed plan. As you saw in Glastonbury, we have also highlighted this plan with color to make it somewhat easier to follow along. I want to start off with a new concrete sidewalk that will connect Ferry Lane with Ferry Park. There's a wear path in the grass today that this is such a highly utilized path. Along the side of the sidewalk, there will be a flat pad that will have 2 benches that would look out over the river and the ferry. And then crossing Ferry Lane will soon be easier as well, with an established crosswalk that will lead you right past the new gate. Matching the gate in Glastonbury, as well as the Chester Hadlime Ferry, as Dan had mentioned. Similarly, the same decorative lighting will be atop the masonry posts. The gate will prevent unwanted access for after hours and when the ferry is not in service. Continuing south, there will be more sidewalk along Ferry Lane up to the intersection of Meadow Road and allowing access to the Ferry Grill and Chill next door. To protect the sidewalk and the people on the sidewalk, there will be wood timber railing along the front and back of the sidewalk, similar to what is there today. Some changes to Ferry Lane itself. The road gets narrowed slightly at the columns to accommodate the new gates, as well as the intersection with Meadow Road to provide room for the sidewalk without impacting the parking area to the south. Finally, we have designated 2 spaces for the contractor to use as a laydown or staging area. There's space allocated to the north in Ferry Park that utilizes 9 of the 55 total spots, none of the ADA spots, or the handicap spots. And then there's another area on the south of Ferry Lane that can be utilized for a construction laydown as well. These areas will be the first to set up and the last to take down. So there is a potential for one or both to be staying up after the ferry opens again for the season to wrap up construction if necessary. And Dan will talk a little bit more about the construction schedule.
Perfect. All right. Yep. Thank you, Charlie. And moving on to the construction phase, a couple of quick questions here that the public might have. So what is the project's estimated cost? And as it stands right now, we're at 90% designs. We're not quite to that final design yet. So the numbers are still being crunched. And as we sharpen our pencil and sort of refine the design going into 100%, that number will be refined a little bit further. But where it stands right now is $625,000. And that's roughly a 2-to-1 split, Rocky Hill being $400,000 of the work and Glastonbury being $225,000 of the work. And when will this project be taking place? So as I said, we're at 90% design. We anticipate completing design in April of 2025, so a little while, and awarding the project to a contractor in November of 2025. That would have us starting construction in January of 2026 and completing construction in March of 2026, so about a 2-month construction window. And this lines up nicely with the ferry's operating season. We should be wrapping up construction before the ferry is slated to open up on April 1st. And the project is being funded with 100% state funds. And that will conclude the presentation today. And I welcome questions, comments from the public at this point.
We will hang around for a few minutes. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, we'll give you plenty of time. And as shown on the screen here, if something comes up later or a question pops in your head later tonight, by email, you can send me by email, by phone, voicemail. Just reference the project in the voicemail. Dan, can you go back to the Glastonbury proposed?
I sure can. Yep. All right, so Glastonbury here.
So there's no proposed fencing outside of the gate and the masonry columns on the Glastonbury side. Is that correct, Dan?
Correct. Yep.
William has got his hand up. All right. You should be able to talk, William.
Perfect. Wonderful. Good evening. I also have a quick question regarding that fencing that I see in the picture in Glastonbury. Is there any proposal for having fencing similar to that on the Rocky Hill side?
Yeah, the Rocky Hill side will match the Glastonbury side, and will also match the Chester Headline Ferry. There is more fencing on the Rocky Hill side that brings the gate down to the water. You could still, walk around the fence. It doesn't bring you all the way down to the water, but it's the idea
like
to block access to the launch.
And so on that left, right where you have your cursor now, is that a boat dock? Is that on the other side of the boat slip?
That is on the Ferry Park side. So that's like where Newington has their police boat, like today.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this doesn't show it, but there will be a gate here where the sidewalk crosses that fence. There is going to be a pedestrian gate here.
And the fence, does it actually go into the water where the boat slip is?
No.
No. Is there a gate there where it's green, where you have those 2 light pillars on either side of the boat slip?
In between the two.
Yeah, you see how it diagonally, the green line kind of heads into the water?
Correct. Yep. That's kind of, I guess, an artistic representation of the gate being partially open, if you will. So that that would close and block off the boat launch. And then when that's open, they'll be open all the way to allow vehicle traffic.
Oh,
to and
okay.
from.
So there's actually going to be a gate at the boat slip
Yes.
and also a gate at the ferry slip.
No,
Mm.
just the ferry launch.
Perhaps if I go here, will this help?
So where
So-
where you see the barge in the picture, there'll be a
Mhm.
gate across that road. The boat launch and ferry park and that little kind of smaller one to the south of Ferry Lane. Nothing is changing to either of those.
Okay. Okay.
So
Thanks for clarifying.
You're welcome.
And also just another question, quick question for the fencing on the Glastonbury side. You said it's primarily going to be around where the light fixture is going to be. It's not going to extend down south of the river from there.
No, it's just going to be basically across the travel lanes there, blocking
Okay.
off ferry lane travel.
Okay. Because it looked more like a decorative fencing in the picture that you were showing.
Yep, that is the intent for it to have kind
Oh,
of
okay.
it'll serve the function of being a fence to block traffic when the ferry's not in operation, but we wanted to give it a decorative feel so it fits the site a little bit better than a chain link fence or something.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thanks
So
for clarifying. Yeah, I totally
correct.
understand. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
I was just
Happy.
concerned if it was going to block, the view of the river from, people who sit on that side of the river to, kind of watch the boats go by and all. But it doesn't sound like it will.
I mean,
But certainly
not
the
throughout the
intent.
day during operations, it certainly wouldn't, but
Mhm. Okay. All right. I think that's all the questions I have for now. Thank you.
sure. Yep. And I'll jump back to the end. I don't think we said it aloud, but it's on here if anybody's calling in. The comment period will remain open until February 11th. I think it's about 2 weeks. So if anybody thinks of any questions after this meeting, looking at the project on the webpage or something, feel free to email those or call those into Charlie as well.
I think we see one more question in the chat about lessons learned from the Headline project. Unfortunately, the design team was not involved in that project, but that's something that we can reach back to our folks in public trans and provide an answer to.
We also had another question from Rhonda. There are tall brush and small trees inhibiting the view from the park to the north of the Rocky Hill Ferry parking lot. Can they be removed / trimmed during this time, or is it the responsibility of the something? So I think where you're talking about is inside Ferry Park, because there's not really any brush that I've noticed kind of between the ferry launch and the ferry park. So that would not be able to be incorporated in this project. No. We do however, have a contact with the Rocky Hill, the town, that we could bring it up to, potentially bring it up to them to look into. We'll give another minute. So this presentation is being recorded. It will live on forever in YouTube land. So it'll be accessed probably tomorrow sometime. It'll be posted to our YouTube page and can be viewed anytime after that. But seeing no more questions, I would like to thank everybody for the time tonight, coming out on this lovely Tuesday night virtually to attend this with us. And as we've mentioned, there's another 2 weeks or so to email questions, phone in any questions. Appreciate it. So with that, if you're all set, Dan, I will go ahead and end this event.
Okay. Sounds good, Charlie.
Thank you.